The studio lights were blinding. The cameras were rolling. The audience was buzzing with excitement as the red on-air sign lit up. Mike Tyson sat in the center chair of the interview stage, calm, steady, his hands folded loosely in front of him. He had done dozens of interviews during his comeback years. He thought he had seen every kind of question, every attempt to provoke him, to anger him, to break him. He was wrong. Because that morning, on a nationally televised talk show in New York City, a reporter named Daniel Price walked onto the set with one goal: humiliate Mike Tyson. Daniel didn't want an interview. He wanted a moment, a headline, a viral clip. And during the first 3 minutes of that broadcast, he pushed Tyson harder and harder, digging into his past, mocking his voice, his education, his childhood, even questioning his humanity. The studio audience laughed in confusion. The hosts looked terrified. The camera operators froze, unsure whether to keep filming or look away. And Tyson stayed silent. He didn't react. He didn't blink. He didn't defend himself. Until one moment, a moment so unexpected, so personal, that the entire studio fell silent. A moment when Tyson said something so calm, so shocking, so deeply human, that the reporter who tried to break him ended up breaking himself. But to understand why Tyson responded the way he did, and why Daniel Price attacked him so viciously, you need to know the story of the man sitting across from him. You need to know who Daniel Price was. Before the cameras turned on, Daniel Price didn't always want to be a reporter. When he was younger, he wanted to be a writer. He dreamed of publishing novels, of telling stories that mattered, of giving people hope. But life has a way of turning dreams into weapons. Daniel grew up in Connecticut, in a strict household where perfection was demanded, not encouraged. His father, a decorated military officer, believed emotions were weaknesses. Mistakes were punishments waiting to happen. Apologies were signs of defeat. Daniel learned early on to hide his anxiety, hide his sadness, hide the fact that he felt completely out of place in his own life. His mother tried to soften the house, leaving notes on the fridge, peeking into Daniel's room late at night just to say she loved him. But the tension in the home was constant. Until one winter night, the night everything broke. It was December. Snow covered the roads. Daniel was 17. His mother had called him earlier that day. "I'm picking up dinner. Want to come with me, Camera?" He said no. He had homework. He had plans. He had excuses. On the way home, his mother's car hit a patch of ice. It spun. It slid. It collided with a concrete barrier. She died instantly. Daniel arrived at the hospital minutes too late. The nurse handed him her necklace, saying she was wearing it when the paramedics found her. Inside the pendant was a folded note, a tiny one, the kind only a mother writes for a child she worries about. The note said, "You are enough. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, not even yourself." Daniel held that note and sobbed until he couldn't breathe. His father didn't hug him, didn't comfort him, didn't speak. He simply said, "Be stronger." Something inside Daniel hardened that night, something twisted. He stopped writing stories of hope. He started writing stories that hurt. And people watched, people clicked, people paid. He became known for his ability to bring celebrities to tears, ruin reputations, and expose their darkest secrets, all while smiling into the camera. Daniel Price stopped healing the world and started wounding it. In 1999, Tyson was promoting a charity initiative in New York, a youth center, scholarships, gym equipment for underprivileged kids. The show invited him for a 10-minute segment. Simple, safe, positive. But the producers didn't tell Tyson the real twist. Daniel Price would host that segment. Daniel had been losing relevance. His style of aggressive journalism was starting to fade. People wanted kindness, empathy, optimism. So Daniel decided this interview would be his comeback moment. He researched Tyson's darkest moments, He planned questions designed to provoke. He practiced insults disguised as humor, and the moment Tyson sat down in the studio chair, Daniel saw his opportunity. "Mike," Daniel said with a fake smile, "people say you've become softer, more emotional, more fragile. Do you feel like you've lost your edge?" Tyson looked at him quietly. Daniel continued, "I mean, let's be honest. Your vocabulary is what, 100 words? Do you even understand half the questions reporters ask you?" The audience gasped. Some laughed nervously. Tyson didn't move. He blinked once. Slowly. Daniel smirked. He mistook silence for weakness. "Tell me, Mike, when you were out of boxing, did you take any classes? Learn any big words? Maybe you finally read a book?" The hosts shifted uncomfortably. They tried to interrupt. Daniel didn't stop. He leaned closer. "You talk about helping kids now. Do you really think you're a role model? You? With your past?" He tapped his cards on his knee. "Come on, Mike. Don't you think kids deserve someone better to look up to?" Tyson continued staring at him, expression unchanged. Daniel laughed. "What? No answer? Too complicated for you?" The studio fell silent. Everyone waited for Tyson to explode. He didn't. He took a slow breath instead. Then, He spoke. Tyson leaned forward slightly. His voice was soft, calm, almost gentle. "Daniel, who hurt you?" The room froze. Daniel blinked rapidly, confused. "What are you talking about?" he snapped. Tyson didn't raise his voice. "You're talking to me like someone who got hurt a long time ago," Tyson said. "Someone who lost something. Someone who never forgave himself." The audience shifted in their seats. Tyson continued, "You're not trying to humiliate me. You're trying to get rid of something inside you. Something heavy. Something painful." Daniel's jaw tightened. "I'm doing my job," he muttered. Tyson shook his head. "No, you're fighting a ghost." Daniel swallowed hard. His face turned red. His hands trembled. Tyson's tone stayed calm. "I recognize that look. I used to have it too." The entire studio fell silent. Even the cameramen stopped moving. Nobody had ever spoken to Daniel like that. Not publicly. Not privately. Not ever. Daniel tried to speak, but no words came out. For a moment, he looked like a frightened child. Tyson softened his voice even more. "You don't have to do this," he said. "You don't have to hurt people to feel strong." A tear formed in Daniel's eye. He blinked rapidly, trying to hide it. The broadcast went to commercial, but the real moment was just beginning. As soon as the commercial break light turned on, the hosts stood up, whispering urgently to producers. Cameramen looked at each other, unsure if they should pretend nothing happened. Daniel stayed seated, frozen, silent, shaking. Tyson leaned closer and spoke quietly so only Daniel could hear. "You lost someone, didn't you?" Daniel stared at the floor, his throat tightened. Tyson continued, "It wasn't your fault." Daniel's lip trembled. How do you know?" he whispered. Tyson paused. "Because when you're carrying guilt, you talk to people like they're the reason you're hurting." Tears finally slipped down Daniel's face. "My mom," he whispered. "She died, and I wasn't there. I was supposed to, but I didn't go. I didn't answer her call." Tyson nodded, eyes soft. "I know that pain," he said. "I wasn't there when my mother died either." Daniel covered his face with his hands. "I'm so tired," he said quietly. Tyson rested a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to be strong all the time," he said. "You can heal. You deserve to heal." When the cameras turned back on, Daniel was still crying. The audience didn't laugh. They didn't clap. They sat in stunned silence. Tyson looked into the camera and said, "Everyone is fighting something you can't see, so be kind. even when it's hard. The clip became one of the most replayed interview moments in television history. But the real story happened after the show. 3 months after the interview, Tyson received a handwritten letter. It was from Daniel. The letter said, "Mike, I don't know if you understand what you did for me that day. You didn't answer my questions. You answered something inside me I didn't know how to face. I'm getting help now. Real help. For the first time in my life, I feel like maybe I can breathe again. Thank you. Not for the interview, for seeing me." Inside the envelope was something else. His mother's necklace. The pendant, with the note inside. Daniel wrote, "I want this to help someone like me, someone lost, someone hurting. Give it to a kid who needs it." Tyson held the necklace for a long time, remembering the boy he used to be. Then he placed it in a small wooden box labeled, "For Someone. WHO Needs Hope." A year later, Daniel quit his job. He stopped doing ambush interviews, stopped attacking people for ratings, stopped hiding behind cruelty. He started writing again. Not gossip, not scandals, stories. Stories meant to heal, stories meant to help. He published a book about loss, forgiveness, and the power of a single moment of compassion. He dedicated it to his mother. And to Mike Tyson. Tyson never bragged about what happened that day. He never talked about the interview publicly. But people never forgot. Because sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is not fight back, but see the pain in another person's eyes and choose kindness instead. Ending the lesson. Mike Tyson didn't silence the reporter with anger. He silenced him with understanding. He didn't respond to humiliation with violence. He responded with compassion. And that compassion changed a man's life. This story proves something powerful. You never know what someone is carrying inside, and sometimes the calmest response is the one that saves a life.